You know this world has gone insane. It is absolutely no secret. But tonight, Saturday night, you are about to experience the true measures of what that insanity can bring you. Tonight, you are about to see Bald and Bonkers, the one-of-a-kind show that delves deep into the world with no holds barred. Now, meet your hosts, Dakota Franson, specialist of the strange, and Christopher Mule, the UFO fanatic. Now, give it up, and let's see what these two idiots can bring you.
Welcome everybody to the Saturday night. You know, we're back again, and we've got a special treat for you tonight. I'm joined tonight by my friend Drew, Andrina, and from Drew's Paranormal Vlog, and we're going to be talking about witchcraft, and we're going to be talking about how the witches were, what would you say, treated long ago.
The best it is, half of them weren't even witches. Half of them were just normal people that was getting accused of crazy crimes.
But we'll get into that shortly. But first, I need to say to some people in the chat who we've got there, Mike, the Naked Bigfoot. Guys, please go and visit Mike's channel. Amazing channel. Please go and give Mike, the Naked Bigfoot, a big subscribe. Because he's nearly at 100 subscribers. I think he's only like 3 subscribers off 100. So let's get him there tonight, Mike, the Naked Bigfoot. And that's in the podcast form too. If you're watching this, go onto YouTube and give Mike, the Naked Bigfoot, a subscribe. Who else we got there? Facebook user, greetings from Canada. Hello, Canada.
Hello.
There you go. See, it's amazing technology. Who else have we got there? Parapost Network. Hey, Parapost Network. Yeah, so tonight's going to be really good. So, Drew, what do you want to start off first with? What?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. That's the truth. I mean,
do you want to start? Do you want to start with the witch trials in Scotland and how they used to treat witches, suspected witches? Because let's face it, a lot of the witches that were murdered weren't actually, or executed, I should say, weren't actually witches. They were just crimes, really. You know, you don't sleep with the mayor of the village. You know, you dragged off and burnt at the stake. I mean,
a lot of these people were only young girls, and that's the truth. And I think way back in the day when this was all happening, as you know, a lot of people were alcoholics and things. That was all they had the money for, was to top up on beer and things, or whiskey, because that was what basically gave them a life, guys. Way back then, food was expensive and things, so a lot of people lived in the local taverns. And I think a lot of these young girls, they were had mental health problems. Maybe even some of them were a bit bed hoppers.
It's not just that, right? I mean, I've downloaded some pictures, guys, right? So I'm going to show you some pictures here, and Drew will maybe explain what's actually happening in these pictures. Now, I'll leave the monument to last. That's the kind of Scottish monuments around a bit here. But let's kind of go. This is an early illustration from, I would say, the 1400s, round about then. So we've got. I mean, this. Right, you've got the witches. You've got the witches in the background playing with their bubbling cauldron, and this is how that you've got to get into the mindset of people. You've got to remember, like let's just say the 1400s, right? People thought the demon
before the witch trial started in Scotland, Chris. And I think this is where this is roughly coming from. Is the history books way back then?
I mean, there's a lot tells you a lot about this. This picture tells you a lot, right? So if you look at it, you've got obviously that's meant to be the witches with a cauldron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got a tree with a demon coming out of it, which I find quite interesting.
Yeah,
you know, But here, look, this is the kind of thing. This is how people in the days portrayed. What can I say? Women or witches, of the Wicca. You know what I'm trying to say, and people thought that Wicca was a terrible, dangerous. You were in with it. You were in with Beelzebub, and you were cursing everybody, and you were going to burn them. I learned an interesting fact. A lot of the Wicca, Drew, and then I'll let you take over.
Yeah.
Was a lot of people healers and healed
Yes, of
people.
course.
Yeah. So,
That's the reason that I think that witchcraft get brought to the forefront in the first place. Way back, I don't even know where started first, to be honest, where the rumours and that all started. But a lot of the times, people couldn't explain like why this lady could come to your home and help you. The story that I heard that really annoyed me was the kings. There was
yes.
kings and queens of Britain. It probably happened all over the world, to be honest, where they would call in these ladies and things that was known healers.
Yes.
A lot of them was for gout.
Yes. I know. Rich living.
Just the
I mean,
rich loving
eh,
guys, that's it. And
but
then they would get burnt at the stake 3 and 4 days later, get put on trial because
yeah,
people in the local community was accusing them. Basically, they didn't like the king giving them a bit of gold. So they would go into
yeah,
these local taverns, flash the money around, or in the local markets, and they would have to explain that they helped the king, and people would get jealous. That's
yeah.
the way I conceive it. And that is the only reason that they did this. And to get revenge on a lot of them, they would put their names in to the local churches or drop it in the ear of somebody they knew that had a grudge against witches. And then these
I know.
poor girls were getting, and a lot of them were well established people in the community who had
Yes.
helped people give birth through generations and generations. And because of one jealous person, a couple of people that get the rumours in their ear, these poor
Yeah.
girls and things were took away and killed, guys. And it
Actually,
was really just jealousy.
I mean, I watched a program the other night. It was on YouTube, and it was about this is going over to the United States side of things. And it was when the Pilgrims first went to the United States. You have no idea the amount of women that were executed. Oh, she's a witch. She's a witch. You know, the mayor of the town would take a fancy to a girl, right? And behind his wife's back. And if she refused, she was accused of being a witch. And she
Yeah.
was drowned or burnt at the stake. I mean, how many different ways, Drew, would you say they were killed?
Oh wow! I mean, you've got the duking test, as in they duke
Aye.
the ladies in the water, and if they
Yeah,
survive, the witches. If they don't
I know.
survive, oh, you know.
I know. I'm,
I mean, the way that they tortured the girls, first of all, they tortured them in a way that they would pull their fingernails and things off. If that didn't work, they would pull their eyelashes and things out. They would start putting cockroaches and things in their ears, leeches
that's,
and things like that. They would insert things up inside them, loads of crazy, disgusting things. And then if these girls, I mean, pure torture. I'm quite sure I would admit to, well, I'm a witch anyway, but way back then I would have admitted to being a witch just for the torture to stop. You know?
I-
I mean, that case I shared on my channel the other day there, I can
yeah,
use it for the example. I've not got my notes beside me to tell you her name, but this girl had basically been like the town drunk. This was in Lanark, guys, right?
yes,
She was basically the town drunk, and she would go out onto the street, beg for pennies and things to go back to the tavern to get more beer and things. But what had happened to this girl was she had went out and begged for a penny. The people that she was begging the penny off of, the ladies of the town, if you like the ones that walk about with their nice big hats on and their beautiful dresses made of taffeta and things, they had never been spoke to in a way this girl spoke to them. Basically, when they refused her a penny, the girl gave them their character. She basically shouted at them, swore at them, brought them down to an inch size. And because these ladies had never been spoke to like that before, one fainted. One,
yeah,
then the other one went to her husband, who so happened to be, I think he was a minister or a school teacher or something, went back and reported this girl to him, who then went on and reported them to the local, I think it was Chafton or something you
Yeah.
called them way back then.
Yeah.
And them in turn would go to the local authorities. And this poor girl got tortured for 3 days. 3 days. And because she was laughing
Terrible.
at them, and basically she was laughing at them and drunk and belligerent, I would say the
Yeah.
crime would be to this day. But because she did that for a couple of days, and basically our what do you call it when you're all go, but with men it's testosterone and things, it keeps them
Yeah.
going, keeps them thriving. Because that was so high with the torture, they accused the girl of being a witch. And that girl went through 3 days of torture, and then she got burnt at the stake. And because the girl was still like not admitting to any of the crimes that she did, and basically just sticking up for herself, guys, that's what she was doing, just sticking up for herself, and didn't want to be treated in a way where these ladies thought they were better than her. And she
Shocking.
got killed. She got murdered for it.
It's
She did try and take 16 other people with her for the local town, but I can see her way of thinking. Because she's obviously thinking to herself, well, if I'm getting accused of being a witch, all I've done is the same as these people in the local tavern. So if I'm a witch, they're a witch, and she threw all their names under the bus.
it's you think about it, Drew. You think about the amount of witches over the years, and just in Scotland that's been murdered. Thousands. I mean, I watched quite a lot of the history things and that, and I was watching a thing about this. See, when the Black Death was doing its rounds, right? A lot of people thought it was witchcraft that caused this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm serious. I'm serious
It's
here. The
crazy.
people that's listening to this, they thought, oh, that person's a witch. It's caused the Black Death. Let's burn her at the stake.
Well,
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, and that's an interesting thing you were talking about, Drew, in your channel. Remember that article that I sent you? Could you maybe tell them about that? It's about how they want the Scottish government.
yeah, what they've done is, guys, there's been 2 ladies. I would love to tell you their names to give them the justice for it, and I'll maybe even put it in the comments of this after it, because they deserve a lot of recognition for what they've done. They've basically went back into the history books, and they've went through all the witch trials of Scotland, and they've took down a note of everybody's names. They went to the local government, and Nicola Sturgeon, who is she's not our Prime Minister, she's what, First Minister you call her.
It's our First Minister.
Gave them all a pardon. She's apologised to all the ladies and gentlemen that's actually died through these trials, and she's gave them like a pardon. She's erecting like local monuments and things in your area. So if we can prove that people in our area was killed for being witches, then basically we can get a monument and things put up for them. So I'm going to try with a couple of other people that I know is interested around in it in Les Mexico, because I was going to try our hardest to figure out if there is anybody in this area that got murdered.
Yes.
Because basically they were murdered because of being accused of being witches.
You actually brought up a good point there, Drew. It's not just women that were accused of witchcraft, it's men. Now, I've got a picture in here somewhere. Where are you? I think this is it here. Is this it? And as you can clearly see there, you can see the man next to the woman. Now, men were also accused of witchcraft. This is going back, if you look at their suits, this is probably going back to the mid, 1600s.
Oh, that's definitely 1600s, yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, what would usually happen is the husband would find out that his wife was getting accused of a witch, and then they would think, oh, he's in cahoots with the devil, so they would burn him at the stake too, or they would execute him. I mean,
guys, and their kids and things got it as well, by the way. It wasn't just the mother and the father. The kids got killed as well, because obviously they think that these things are generational. So if there's a lady who had a daughter, even if the daughter was just a baby, the baby would be killed as well, because they would think that young girl or that young son was going to take the traits of their mum and dad, and they would now become the witches of the town, and they would get murdered as well. It's a shame.
It's I mean, there's Mike saying men could weasel out of it, and that's true. Men could weasel out of it.
Yep.
All they needed to do is put their hand in the Bible and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and they would be let go.
Yep.
But the women wouldn't. They would either have to be dunked to death, or hung, drawn, and quartered, or burnt, or drowned. I mean,
And see
I
some of the ages of these girls. See when you do go back to the database, guys. I mean, Chris gave me the link to the University of Edinburgh. That's where all the looking into the witches' names and things was done. It was 2 girls from Edinburgh University that's actually decided to do this. And they should see some of the ages of these girls. I mean, they're barely in their teens, some of them, because their mums were getting accused of being a witch and things. And their fathers. There was a local, what do you call them, where they do the horses? They do the, is it they do a farrer or something they're called. Where
All
they
right, I
put
know what you're
the
talking about.
horseshoes on the horses.
Horseshoes. Yeah, no.
Uh-huh. There was a man dragged out and murdered because his daughter and his wife were being accused of being a witch, and they get killed, and they actually killed him just for the sake of killing him. And there was nobody else in the town could put the horseshoes on these horses and things. And that was the only one out of all the different cases that there was 3 or 4 people actually tried their hardest not to get the man killed as well, because they needed him. They needed this man to do their horses and things, but not he get killed as well, because they couldn't take the chance. People were in fear. And I don't know why, because if they looked back and they seen that all these people that were the genuine people that were helping people, the healers, the curers, the things like that, these people that were genuinely helping people and they were being killed for it. When you look back all that, they were needed as well. So your horses were actually more needed than the ladies who could help you in childbirth, help you if your kids have chicken pox and things like that. So it shows you that these people in these higher societies thought more of their horses than they did these girls.
See, I found it really interesting to talk about the king. Yeah,
Scottish Outlook, and you're helping me tonight.
He's quite an intelligent guy. He's an intelligent guy, Scottish Outlooker, but it's quite interesting that you would say about the king. I watch a lot of stuff, and I just know this kind of stuff, and there was an interesting fact. What the king would do is, say the king, let's for say, got an unknown disease, right? We know what we're talking about here. He got a certain type of disease, right?
An itchy one.
An itchy one. And he would get the woman in, the witch, or the medical healer, how they were then. They would do their thing. He would get cured, right? Then a week later, she would be hung or she'd be burnt at the stake, so as the secret did not get out.
Yeah, that was what it was. It was so their secrets didn't get out, basically. Yeah. And if you look back in the history books, there's a couple of these children actually survived. See the ones that was pregnated out of wedlock. A lot of the kids that was in the say, for example, if the lady was maybe 9 months gone and the baby was actually born, they would take that kid off of the family, and the boy or girl would be safe in the castles or whoever it was, the people in high society. But they wouldn't have any life. They would be like made be a slave or whatever. It's just that they had to protect. They would either have to kill their own kid, basically, or just take them off of the person and just give them a lower. Sometimes they were locked in attics and things. If you go back to the history books, you can see all this.
When you go, sorry, Drew. When you go,
I was just going to say a lot of these illegitimate kids were either put to use as slaves or they were hidden in attics.
Now, I'm going to shock you here. And I don't know if I shock you, Drew, because you'll probably know about this, but the people in the chat, you do know in this year 2022, this still happens. In certain states in Africa, they will actually go on witch hunts. They will find the so-called witch, which is usually a healer, and they will stone her to death.
See, it's bad.
It's
not. The only reason it can be in that circumstance is the secrets. Because why would you want to get rid of somebody in your local community who can help you when you're going through childbirth, help you with all these little things that witches know, little techniques to do tinctures and different healing methods and things that would save them money for going to doctors and save them money for buying big drugs that would cost them a fortune and things. So why would you kill them? Obviously, to keep their secrets.
Well, there's a message from Dakota. He's saying albino children too in Africa.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, it's not just witches that this happened to long ago. It was kids that were born with defects that were They were, oh, look at that child there. It's got 3 hands. That's it. It's from the demon, from evil devil. Let's burn them at the stake.
Yeah.
I mean, God, do you think all the graves, it must be hidden graves all over Scotland and England and everywhere, all these poor victims that did not do nothing wrong. Yes, you might have had the odd few that, worshipped Lucifer and the rest, but did you get something? It's terrible, and you know what
Some
happened
of
to
the
them.
reasons is just out this world,
Oh,
honestly. I mean, the reasons that these girls were put in front of, they were, what I don't understand is why the torture if they were going to just kill them anyway? Because all these tortures were aimed at killing them anyway. That's
yeah,
basically what it
I
was.
think it. Yeah, I think it was because they thought, right, this woman here, let's just hypothetically, Mary here, she has been coddling with the devil. She's possessed by Satan. So instead of burning her at the stake quickly, let's torture her. And maybe we'll torture Satan in the process. No, you're not going to
Yeah.
torture Satan. He's a spirit. You can't do that, right? It's not going to happen. It's cruel. I mean, you look what happened in the Middle Ages in the 1600s when normal people would get burnt at the stake and they would get drowned. And it's just, I just dread when I sent you that article in the Scottish Parliament, there must be over 100,000 more in Scotland.
I mean, it's not that. That is the cases that we know about. That's the cases that these girls have actually figured. No, girls, they're ladies, guys. They're probably about the same age as me. If no, do you know what I mean? A wee bit younger. But these ladies have actually found people. But what about the hundreds of people that weren't put in the history books that have been like buried in local fields and things, or just burnt at the stake in their ashes and things, just been allowed to blow away? I mean, what about all they people? So
Well,
why do they
it's
not put a monument in every other town? Like Lanark could cover all this area, Hamilton could cover all that area. Put a monument in every other town to dedicate to these people that didn't get their names put out there to be
well, actually,
recognised.
it's weird you said that because here's a monument. It's near Perthshire, and it's seemingly there's meant to be a witch that was burnt at the stake right on the spot,
I
and her
think it's
ashes
Maggie
are meant to be.
Murphy's. Is it Maggie
Yeah,
Murphy's, Chris?
I think so. I'll a close up one here. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Maggie.
Yeah, it's
I
Maggie
think.
Murphy's.
Yeah, Maggie. Do you know about her? Do you know anything about
I
her?
don't know too much about her, to be honest, offhand, but I have been looking at a couple of things with her. She's one of the famous people that famous for being burnt at the stake, if you get me. She's one of the main names that crops up over and over again. I think she's just like one of the names that maybe somebody's picked at one point in time to study into. So she's like the first known case or something. I don't know, but I can definitely find out because that was the girl that I started researching her a way back about 2 years ago or something. I think she's from Dunfermline. And she was the first known name, I think, in that area that was reckoned that was meant to be a witch, but found out later on wasn't a witch and things like that. So she's the famous name, if you like, Maggie Murphy.
Yeah.
And I would love to go to Dunfermline and do even dedicate a couple of episodes to her because she deserves it, guys. She was one of these people that helped in the local community and different things like that. She wasn't really anybody. This day and age, she would have probably been somebody, if you like, a doctor or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But in their days, she was just a nobody, and people just threw her name in under the bus for a lot of things. I'm not really want to say too much about it because I don't know facts, but I mean, she's one of the famous names out there, yeah.
I mean, it's not just there. I mean, look where you stayed, Drew. There was witch getting burnt and hung, and where I stay in Douglas, there would that happen too. I mean, Lanark, there was a few burnt at the stake. I found out. You found out too.
Yep.
But can you tell us then? Do you know anything about the witches that were killed near you, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, I've researched a couple of their names. I've not got their names offhand, but last week when Chris did mail me about what was happening in Scotland, about them getting a reprieve and things last year, and the government and things giving them monuments and things, I started looking into it That's why I went live on Monday, just to do a quick
Yeah.
awareness live, if you like. And I looked into a couple of the names around here, and basically all the young girls were just drunks. They were drunks or mental health problems, just money was tight. A lot of them were prostitutes, things like that. And they just had affairs with people that that one I was talking about was I think he was a school teacher. I'm sure he was a school teacher or something to do with the church or something. She get basically caught for being outspoken, an outspoken drunk. And a lot of these cases are like that. It's just because time was hard. People didn't have money. So prostitution was rife and things. And that's what they did. They went to the local tavern and spent their money. But people didn't like them. High society wanted them to help them, but they didn't want anything to do with them. And they killed them, guys. Basically, that's it. They just went across the street one day grabbing people like, you come with me, you're a witch. You know, that's what the impression they give you.
There's an interesting thing for Scottish Outlooker. Isn't there a witch's grave in Douglas? That's where I stay. Haven't seen it yet. I know exactly what you're talking about, Scottish Outlooker. It's no a witch. Really quickly, when the plague was doing its rounds in Britain, there was a traveller. You know how they had the travellers, the gypsies would ride along in the caravans that they had with the horses. And what happened was she fell out of her horse and cart, and they went to it, and they found out that she had the plague. So they didn't want to bring her into the village. So what they did was, she died, I think it was about an hour after that. They burnt her carriage, they let the horses go, and they actually buried her in Douglas. There's a stone. It's near a park called the Tunnel, but Scottish Outlooker will know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's up in the woods to the left, and there's a big stone, and it's actually her grave that's there. It's actually quite interesting. I mean, I see at Crawford John, Drew. Did you know
people say that she was a witch, so they stayed away from the grave?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people maybe said away back then, oh, she was a witch, stay away from it, stay away from it. You know, just so people weren't to get curious and get the plague.
That's exactly why they said she was a witch, but it was because she had the plague. I mean, Crawford John, 4 miles from me.
There's a few up there, Chris, by the way. I've noticed that. There's a few.
Yes. There must be about 4 or 5 witches that were burnt.
I think there must have been a family. Probably a family that had gifts of healing, maybe even gifts of psychic awareness and things.
Oh, that's right. That's right, Drew. That is a good point. It's not just witches that were burnt at the stake or dunked into the rivers. It was people that could tell the future, or it was people that could see dead loved ones or spirits.
That's why it was so. That is why it's only just now that people are starting to accept ghost hunting, tarot card readings, all these different supernatural things or paranormal things. That's why people are only just now starting to give it a bit of energy, if you like, is because way back then people were made to be scared of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know why, because it's one of the most natural things that'll ever come to you is witchcraft. I mean, everything is to do with earth, the elements, everything that's around you that is natural and your natural healing abilities and things. It's about coming to terms with that in your mind, finding a way that you can use the peace within you, the love within you to help other people. So I don't understand why these poor girls and men were tortured and made to say things that were totally against what they even stood for. It's a shame. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. You've got to remember, a religion played a big part in this. The Christian religion or the Catholic religion played a big part in this. They thought Lucifer was behind the next door. They thought the devil was going to get you if you did the slightest thing wrong. This is what religion has done. If the religion didn't exist, this probably wouldn't have happened. What's that there from Mike the Naked Bigfoot? I'll bring that up now. A lot of actual witches who escaped to America settled in the Appalachian Mountains. That's actually very interesting.
Well, there you go. They probably
That
had to go somewhere like that was totally out the norm. I mean, I bet you these people left, like say it was Scotland, I bet you these people left Scotland thinking that they were going to find somewhere where they would be accepted, get a fresh start and things. And then look what happens in America. I mean, I think, was America after us? I think they were after us with the witch trials. That all happened
yes,
over there as well. So these poor people were going places to try and escape all of this religion and really
yeah.
seriously bad religion, that was killing people basically, to
It's.
go to better, and it was happening over there as well.
I mean, I mean, everybody's seen the films in America where the is it the Pilgrims they were called, the first kind of
Yeah, but
settlers
witch
of the
trials and
yeah.
all the right,
I
okay,
mean, there was the witch hunters. They were called the witch hunters.
Mm-hmm.
They wore a funny hat,
Mm-hmm.
a black, all in black, and they were like priests, except they were witch hunters, right? And
Yeah.
this is all they would go from town to town to town to town, and they would basically nearly every town they would burn someone at the stake. They would
They
burn them
had
at the stake.
witch pickers.
Yes.
Prickers, sorry, which was a man who went around with basically a needle, and if he pricked the person and they basically bled or whatever it was, screamed, they were a witch. So they went to go on trial. We were having a laugh about it on my live actually, because I did think it said witch picker, but then we realised it says witch pricker. So basically there was somebody paid to go around and poke these people.
There's Dakota Ferguson, witch.
Peckers.
Peck.
Well, they might as well have been because they were no good. I just think it's terrible that some of these girls were actually hung, drawn, and quartered before they were burnt at stakes because they were admit that half their family and things were witches as well.
Yeah, I mean it's frightening. It's frightening what some of the. I mean, I watched one, and it was at Edinburgh Castle, and they got the witch, and do you know which they did to her before they executed her? They hung, drawn, and quartered her, so they cut her open with her entrails, and they hung her up.
Yeah,
and
exactly
she was still alive about an hour after it, and then they burnt her at the stake. I mean,
see the people
cruel.
standing watching these things, cheering and loving it and saying basically more, get the next person up. They're more evil than the people they were actually doing this to. For them to love and enjoy that type of thing is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. It's exactly what the people in high society wanted. They wanted people to go against everybody that didn't have money. They could actually get money out of people, such as if you had a healing gift, you could go and get your crap, maybe get a penny or something for putting a plaster on somebody these days type of thing. So they were jealous because they were jealous that these people could make money naturally with what was inside them, that they didn't have to go and learn something to earn their dollars and whatever. That's why it was based on actual jealousy. Pretty girls as well. A lot of pretty girls would get murdered, saying that she could put like spells on these men, because a lot of people, when they were looked at the young girls, obviously a pretty face, they would fall in love with her. So a lot of these people thought that the girl was a witch because she had a pretty face.
And also, see if the woman didn't get married when she, and long ago women got married when they were 14, 15, right? See if the women didn't get a husband until they were 20. They were classed as something wrong with them, and they were a witch, so they get burnt at the stake. I mean,
I think that's probably where a lot of people get scared, doesn't it? When they're turning 30 and things that they, oh no, I'm 30, I'm not married, oh no. Because of the old way of thinking, that if you're not married by 30, you're a spinster, and that you've got all these assumptions put on you. And it's probably based on the old way of thinking about the witches. Because as Chris said, if you were at a certain age and you weren't married, there was something wrong. So a lot of people have took that through the generation and wondered, well, I'm not married, I'm 30. Oh no, what's going to happen to me? And that's what it is. It's that mindset that's been planted in people down the generations, that if they don't get married by a certain age, there's something wrong with them. And therefore, way back then, they were burnt at the stake and things for being a witch.
Well, I'll take you back to this picture again, right? And I mean, this is what they used to do to people. they
You
would
can
put
see
you
the
in the
witch hunters in the
stocks.
background, yeah, with the big
Yeah.
hats.
Yes, that's the there. That's the witch hunters, and oh my god,
I
you
mean, look
think
at it.
what?
That girl, that lady there is obviously the mother of one of this girl,
Yep,
probably. But I mean, look
yep,
how upset she's looking, really. I mean,
yep.
there's nothing you could do. I mean, if they decided to do that to me, all my family and things wouldn't could do nothing. They would have to stand there and cheer along with the crowd, or they would be killed as well if they weren't already lined up
Yeah,
to be killed.
I mean, you look at this picture, right? This picture is from this. I downloaded it. This is actually from the Pilgrims, because they're
Yeah,
actually dressed the first kind of Americans, and you can actually
yeah.
see one of the audience getting carried away because they think he's he's siding with the witch, which is in
Yeah.
the stocks there. Obviously our father's in the stocks there again. I
I
mean,
mean, look at the young kid. The young kid is looking out the window and things. I mean, this was a big event. This would happen like on a
yeah,
Saturday afternoon or something,
oh yeah,
so that the full town could attend it. It was to be made an example of the
yeah,
people, and it was to be put out there that everybody that does this type of thing, they will be
yeah,
killed and they will be redeemed as witches. And
yeah.
they make it sound as if it's something so bad.
I know.
That's what gets me. It's like the same way Pastor Greg Locke that we were
Oh yeah,
talking
yeah,
about a
right.
couple of weeks ago, guys.
Hmm.
This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring back the old way thinking
Yes.
that these people that can do things like healing and see the future, tarot readers and things like that are bad. Because he's trying to make another movement, he's trying to make a movement, and they're not Christians. They're a couple of other wee silly no, not small religions, but they're not Christians. They're these other crazy religions, and they're trying to make their own rules, their own set of standards that people in these communities have to live by. If you want to be a member of his church, for example, you've got to make sure that you don't have anything in your past that's to do with the old witches, and
That's
maybe
right.
you like your tarot reading now and again and things. You wouldn't be allowed to do anything like that, or you would be the next person through the back
That
trying to
guy,
get these demons out you.
that guy is absolutely out of order, because I watched one of his videos, especially the ones on the Wicca, and what he was actually saying that everybody should get together and go to people's doors. I mean, this is a real witch hunt, and this is a
Yeah,
dangerous thing, because you know what the generations are like now.
yeah.
They will do it.
And we wouldn't just be took into the local square these days and hung, drawn, and quartered right in front of people. We would just start disappearing off the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, is this where all these people that's going missing is going? Is there people in his area that's been redeemed as witches and they've now disappeared? I mean, I think
Yeah.
the government should keep a really good eye on him because he's dangerous. He is actually a dangerous person because people with mental health problems will listen to him. They want an answer to some of
Yeah.
these, why things are not going right in the world. I mean, he blamed witches for the way the world was, and but
Yeah.
just recently he's blamed us for that. He's blamed us for a lot of other things that's just totally crazy. And you're like, why are you doing this? And do you want to know why he's doing it? It's because his wife was friends with three ladies in his community, his church community, who
Yeah.
basically were healers. They could see into the future. And if there was
Mm-hmm.
actually one of them was accused of being a witch that he was shouting out in his church about.
That's right.
And there's a rumour that he actually either tried to get out with the girl or had been sending her like communication, and she had went back and told his wife. So there's more to it than him just thinking everybody's witches. He's trying to get these 3 or 6, whatever it is, this today,
Yeah.
people thrown out his community. And it's all because of him and his affairs. He's had affairs in the past and things
I mean,
like that.
there's Mike the Naked Bigfoot. He's actually dealt with a number of the mega church leaders.
Mega church leaders.
See, it's not just Wicca, and it's not just psychics. It's people that are into voodoo, like Mike. It's people that are not following. It's not following the Christian Bible.
That's it.
That is the enemy here.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go over there and you say, "Oh, I believe in the great man, and his name's John." Right? You could just make a mad religion up, right?
Yeah.
And then he would attack you for that, right? it's the
He
way the
wants
world
his
is
own
going.
cult. He wants his own
That's exactly.
following and his own cult. And if you look at his past, he's got quite a dodgy past, and I think he thinks that because he's had this dodgy past, he's using it as a way. Is like, look what God did for me. He's redeemed me. No, excuse me, you did that because you stopped committing crimes.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't do it because the hand of God pushed that on you to stop it. You did it because you seen the error of your ways and knew that was wrong. And now you've came to a society where you're trying to blame people that did what you did way back then as being witches and people that's out to just make money and things like that. So why you're doing that? You did that. You were actually a bank robber or something. I think he was something like that. And he is now telling people that's maybe got mental health problems, maybe they're struggling in life and they've did some silly things. He is now condemning them for the things that he basically did. Maybe not just as bad as some of these people, but it's crazy. It's just a way of punishing people because you're a narcissist.
Yeah, he's not just done that. He's not just had affairs. He's also hit his wife. I found that out. And the story was that one of the members in the church in the Bible study was talking to his wife told her.
Right.
And she obviously tried to help her because she was into Wiccan things.
Try to get her to
and he found out, and it just shows you the dangerous people in this world.
Yeah, because he's got a voice, because he's a man on a stage and can preach it, and people will listen. It's very dangerous.
Yeah,
very dangerous.
Yeah, the Bible has been used to kill all the poor women, witches, and men. It's been used to attack people, and it shouldn't be. You know, and it's sad. It's sad. What's that for Dakota there? I've broken the nose off a few guys like that.
Quite right, Dakota. Quite right. It's more the generation that is coming up that you have to worry about as well, because if they go back the history books and they've seen the way that the witch trials and things happened before, it's going to stop a lot of people from actually taking this path, and it helps you. Once you realise that you're supposed to be a witch, especially when I've struggled in my past, and I know within my heart, on my hand and my heart, sorry, that if I had this path a way back 20 years ago, I would never have done the things I did and went off my path. I would have stayed to my path and I would have stuck to it, and I'd have probably made a lot more of myself than starting at 35, 40, whatever it was, and trying to be a witch now. If I only just knew a way back when I was 16 that this was the path I was supposed to take, I could have saved a lot of heartache.
It's a good job you weren't born in the 1600s, that's all I've got to say.
Well, that's it. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe you were.
People scared.
Maybe you were. But maybe you were. Maybe you've reincarnated. You don't know these. I mean,
do you not think it's weird though that where I stay now, the rumours in my town is that this is where like people were burnt at the stake and there was witches. I mean, we've knew this when we were kids, that there was meant to be witches in Les Mexico and they were burnt at the stake and things. And through like talking to people, it's meant to be like up around this area somewhere. So maybe I have reconnected to my ancestral self. Who knows?
There's a message from Dakota Ferguson. If Liam Nelson,
Neeson.
what is that? Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
That's I couldn't pronounce that there. Can grow in his 50s, so can you. True.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
I butchered some of the words there.
It's just a shame that all these girls and things have suffered. For now in 2022, in fact, it was 2020, I think this all happened, 2021. It's for now people to actually turn around and say, oops, sorry. You know?
Yeah.
Is that it? That's why I want to try and get like a monument or something, even if it is Lanark and not Les Mexico, just something to acknowledge that the suffering of these girls and men were uncalled for.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do something. Maybe if enough is right into our MPs. You know, if anybody's listening to this in the podcast side, guys, write into your MPs in Scotland and ask them what is happening. about the witch trials, are they getting a monument? You know,
Yeah. And
it's
research your local area. I mean, I went on to that University of Edinburgh's website where they did the studies, and it tells you the towns. Some of the towns have got their old name though, like I think Crawford John was Crawford Dyke and things like that. There's different names, but
yeah.
these days, I mean, you'll find it no problem, especially if you do call the university and ask. Because I'm
Yes.
thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about calling the actual university and just asking if I can speak to the girls that did, or the ladies that did these studies, and see
Well,
if I could have a conversation with them.
well, I was actually looking online at one of the universities were actually showing you the type of things they used to torture them, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that they did to them. I mean, I know you're talking about their fingernails
Right.
getting pulled out with pliers, but imagine getting
Oh,
put
there's
into a
the
machine.
two cents to let my son in.
What?
I know, it's just that. It's just bad.
Just up with 2 minutes, guys. But who's all in the chat? Dakota's in the chat. He's on Facebook. Mike. Listen, guys, I'm going to give Mike the Naked Bigfoot one more quick push for
There we
his
go.
channel. Remember, give Mike the Naked Bigfoot a subscribe.
All right,
Let's
I'll
get
pick
him
up
to
the
let's get Mike the Naked Bigfoot to 100 subscribers, guys, by Monday. I think we
Guys,
can do that.
please subscribe to Mike the Naked Bigfoot. You've got no idea the amazing stories. I don't even want to say stories because stories makes it sound not true.
I mean,
Experiences this
yes.
guy has had.
And Mike is an amazing guy, and he does these lives, guys. And he done one called the Skinner Man, and I was sitting there in the dark watching this on my iPad, just listening to this live, and I was sitting and I was I could feel my, you know how you get that weird feeling as if something's there watching you. That's the kind of thing. Go and check his channel out. Absolutely. Could
Right.
I don't know if anybody in the chat could post his link. I'll see if I can post
As some of
link for Mike.
and they're no stories, their experiences are amazing, and I want to interview him very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he comes to my chat in a couple of weeks, guys.
Mike's at 97 subscribers, guys. Let's get Mike to 100 tonight.
If
'Cause I think he
anybody
deserves
deserves it, he does, because the experiences he's had, a lot of these things we only think they're myths, and because Mike stays in the Appalachian Mountains or at the foot of the mountains, he knows a lot more than us normal people. If you like, it's the towns and cities and things, he's seen a lot. He's got an experience with a tree that's in his heart. That is a very interesting story, guys, and I am not even going to tell you because I want you to go over and watch it and listen to him because it's very interesting. It's amazing.
The tales that he tells are absolutely amazing, and honestly, they are absolutely amazing. There's this link, guys, so please go and check it out.
It's not as if they're not true. These are true. And he basically confirmed. When I watched these, sorry that we're making this about Mike, but see, when I watched his channel the other day, last Sunday, I watched him the full day, and see some of the things that he talks about. We have knowledge of them, but we never ever thought they existed or they've been called by another name. So it confirms a lot of things to people that's on this path. To me, it confirmed a lot of things to me that I always thought was a myth, but it's not.
I mean, I know tonight is about the witch trials and stuff like that, but see, Mike knows all about this stuff. And Mike, if you're watching this right now, do a video on it for me.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because Mike was talking about the witches and things in Britain and different places who did go to America and they thought it was a new life and they did go travel and things and try and find a better land. And then look what they walked into, guys. A lot of people think the slavery, for example, was just the African community and things. A lot of us Scottish and Irish people went to find a better life in America, and we were all a lot of us ended up as slaves.
It's actually quite interesting you brought that up. Obviously, I was talking about Africa earlier on, how they're still doing witch trials. But a lot of the Africans that went over to America obviously practiced these religious kind of, their things, and they were actually caught over there, and they dealt with them. And I think there should be some type of acknowledgement, I think, from the entire planet
Yep.
to stop
Yeah.
this kind of behaviour, because it still goes on. No, just in Africa. It goes on in Saudi Arabia. It goes on in all these type of other places. What's that from Mike the Naked Bigfoot? What's this? Here we go. Bring this up. The reality of the supernatural and paranormal world is beautiful and terrifying. Yes.
It's very addictive being that scared. I took my grandson out a walk, as I showed you, and I done a video yesterday. Well, I wasn't intending on turning the spirit box on, but he thought I was going to.
Yeah.
And I would never expose him to that type of thing because he is only 7. But the keenness of Zach at 7 years old to find out more about the spirits, more about the witchcraft and things is amazing. And I would hate anybody ever to put a negative thought in his head about that and him not want to do it anymore, because he's like a wee energy bubble. And I think our Zach is like a wee magnet to a lot of these entities, or not entities because that sounds bad, but to a lot of these kids' energies and things. And I think that he would be a benefit to us taking him out. Just wee locations, guys. I would never take him to Burkwood or anything, but just silly wee locations, I think, and introduce him to it gently. And to think that if my grandson, Zach, Liam used to, but not so much now, but to think that if my grandson ever takes this path of wanting to maybe get a bit more spiritual, a bit more witchy, if you like, and for his generation to maybe that Pastor Locke decide that this is going to be a thing, and for my grandson and things to maybe get punished for something so innocent really upsets me. That's why I want to do this.
It's a terrible thing, but I would just like to say there's Drew's paranormal vlog link in the chat. Let's get Drew up to let's get her up to what you're at 900.
I'm at 870 odds, I think. No, 820 odds, I think. I can't remember.
Let's get Drew up to 900 subscribers, and look who's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Paranormal World Investigators. She's on her holidays now in Texas. Hello, Texas. Waving at you. It's amazing technology.
Having a ball.
Yeah. She's probably sitting with a cowboy hat. She's probably sitting with a cowboy hat on the new, chilling, all that good weather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hope you're having a lovely time. But tonight's been really good, guys. Is MD in the chat want to ask Drew any questions? Because we've got about 10 minutes left of the show.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you should write a book.
I just feel sorry. I just feel so bad for these girls. Some of them were teenagers, guys. See, when you do go back and you work out their dates of birth and things, and you realise that some of these young girls were only like 16 years of age. Some of them weren't even 18 yet, and they're being killed for something that their mothers and things were accused of, or their fathers having affairs with the local minister's wife. Or, do you know it could be reversed? I mean, the girl was the minister having an affair with the minister or the school teacher, but it can also be reversed. It could be the wife that was having the affair and the man gets killed, and because he had an affair, his wife would be killed and his children would be killed, just to erase him from society, basically, because he's got secrets on these people. Well, what it does come down to being secrets.
I'm just reading the chat there. Paranormal World Investigators. What's that? What's that about?
What our ancestors went through was evil. Yeah, it was evil.
What's that from Mike the Naked Bigfoot there? My son used to tell his schoolmates that they would believe if they got bit in the arse by the things they've seen.
Well, I'm quite sure they would. But I want my kids and my grandkids to be educated in some of these entities and spirits.
Why don't you?
Out there.
Here's a mad, radical idea for you, Drew. Why don't you write a book on Scottish witchcraft?
Well, I could. I was going to do a documentary about it, to be honest. I was going to do it about Mr. Mackenzie, and then this all get brought to my attention. So I have been thinking about doing try and get enough information to do a documentary around this area to see how far we can dig and see if we can maybe get a couple of names of people that people in our society would know, because they would know through the generations the name and things. So it would be interesting. I would love to do it, as long as I get information.
Think about it. I mean, I think everybody in the chat, what do you think? Do you think Drew's Paranormal Vlog should write a book on Scottish witchcraft? I think that would be, Yeah, I
It's
think you
just that
should.
a lot of the information is hidden. We would have to really, really research it and find people that could actually verify a lot of it through gossip in the towns. It would be really good to get into, though. It would be something
Yeah.
really good to put out there. It would.
Yeah. I mean, we will be
This would
going
be
ghost hunting.
sister.
We will be going ghost hunting again, guys. Me, Drew, and the
Yep.
Groovy Gang, as I call them. We'll be getting you some locations. We'll be popping up some videos, you know. But yeah, it's been a good night to Drew. What's that? Dakota in the chat. What you saying there? We can help make it happen, Drew.
Yep.
The
I know these
documentary
can,
film
boys.
or
I know
both.
these can.
You know.
Well, we tell them who's coming, the exciting news, who's all coming.
No, we can't talk about that
No,
yet,
we're not
Drew.
talking about it yet.
But
I was talking about my people, no your people.
oh, you. Oh, I thought that was the
No,
Dakota's person. But when you go,
no,
oh,
I
you
wouldn't
can
give away any of that kind of
Well,
nonsense, that kind of
no,
great
I can't.
amusement.
That's Secret Service stuff. You're not allowed to talk about that.
Yep. Look.
When you go, Drew, do tell.
We've got Haunted Finders coming for an interview, guys. Hopefully it'll be next Saturday. Tom and Dave is coming to talk about Sherwood Forest, about all their experiences in Sherwood Forest and the haunted forests around Nottingham. And I've also got Lady Gravedancer and Crescent Moon coming on as well. I need to work out the time difference with them because they're in Texas. So I will have to work out the time difference. But yeah, guys, we've got a lot of amazing people coming on. It is really, really interesting. So I would like you to get your comments in because we need questions for them.
Yes. Remember, Drew, get some Dead Sea Scrolls, big
Dakota,
long ones. Yeah.
Keys through away, Dakota. I know nothing.
Yeah, Dakota, you would see a witch trial again in Scotland. He would come off the plane.
I'd need to run.
You'd need to fly. He would catch you. I've got a vision of this guy running chasing after you. But it's been a really, really good night tonight, guys. And tomorrow night we've got for contact. We've got an old friend coming back to the live. Lewis is coming back to the live tomorrow. So the Inner Truth is his channel. So we'll be discussing UFO sightings in this area because we have got some amazing footage for you guys. So Drew,
I have
would you like
just
to?
found out that Scottish Outlooker was in my local shop tonight. Hey Drew, thanks for letting me go in front of you in the shop tonight. That was me, laugh out loud. I saw your hoodie. So sorry I didn't have a chance to say hello. Everyone was chatting to me at the same time. Scottish, I wouldn't even know you if I passed you in the street. There you go, you were standing behind in a shop.
Oh, see my co-host. I could show him Scotty Potato Head. He's down in this chat down here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for an adoption, Dakota, I'm giving him away for a measly sum of 5p. Oh no, I know it's too expensive. We'll make it a penny, you know.
Right.
So,
up in Douglas.
No problem. So right, I'll close the show off and I'll catch you all tomorrow night, guys. So catch you later, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.